Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about why the cheapest quote isn't always the best value. So I like to use a story. A friend of mine needed a staircase. So he got three quotes, two from a staircase builder, one from another friend who was a carpenter. And our friend, the carpenter, was the most expensive, which sounded a bit odd. After comparing the quotes, they realized that one of the staircase builders hadn't allowed for a balustrade or a handrail. And the other one hadn't allowed for a landing. So, bit odd. Staircase builder not allowing for a landing or a balustrade, because landing in this case is what holds up the staircase, and balustrade, well, staircase isn't legal without a handrail. So, but once they compare the quotes properly and realize that the two staircase builders hadn't actually allowed for the whole job, our friend the carpenter was actually the cheapest by a lot. So this is why comparing quotes is so important, and making sure you're comparing apples with apples, because at first look, those three quotes, they weren't comparing apples with apples because not everyone had allowed for the same thing. So this is why you need to look at what has been allowed for and what hasn't been allowed for. And if people give you a quote, they just give you a price to do a job, don't ever accept it. Ask what is included and what's not included in that price, because you need to know what they've allowed for. You'll hear it all the time. You know, a concreter has not allowed for mesh in their driveway, or all sorts of things, and it's just crazy. So, and if you don't ask, you don't know. So make sure you ask. So the other thing is, when you're actually getting quotes, we call them a scope of works, but actually write down what you would like them to quote. So obviously you don't know everything. They're the professionals, but write down, this is what I need, this is the quantity. So if you're getting an electrician, this is how many power points, this is how many light switches, this is how many lights. They'll be able to tell you the rest, how much cable they need, all that sort of stuff. But trying to get those quantities and stuff done beforehand, especially if you don't have plans and it's not all on the plans, it just makes getting those quotes easier, because then everyone should have quoted the same thing. So then, but you can also compare against your list or your scope of works for what they've allowed for. So that's why the cheapest quote isn't always the best value from what it may appear. This is why you need to compare them, and you need to know what you're looking for. It's not easy to do when you don't know the lingo and you don't understand the process. But it is very important, because comparing quotes and getting quotes properly can save you money down the line. There's nothing worse than getting halfway through a job and someone going, "Oh, I didn't allow for that." And then it's like, who needs to pick up the bill and pay for it just because they've missed it or forgotten it? And it happens a lot. So you need to be clear, have everything in writing at the start, so that you're not left paying the bill for something that wasn't allowed for and should have been allowed for. So that's it, guys. That's why the cheapest quote isn't always the best value. Make sure you're comparing quotes. It's not easy to do if you don't understand, but don't be afraid to go back to your trades and ask them to clarify things. That's always helpful as well. So that's all. Thanks, guys.